So we know up to this point on our screen, on our Matplotlib tutorial, the graph that we're actually doing, we don't have anything called labels on this, like maybe that of the Y label, the S label, or what the title of the graph is actually all about. So we're just going to actually implement that. To do this is basically simple. So we can come beneath here, we can say our PLT, which is the name, our PLT dot what. Let's say we want to give the S label a name, so we can give the S label, can give it, you can see X testing label. Remember, I can give it any name of your choice, and just say S testing label. Let me copy it. I'm going to do for that of the Y label too. So here is going to be our Y, and here is going to be Y. So what we're expecting is that on our label here, we're going to see the, let me just give this a little bit of space. So we're going to see our S label is going to be X testing label, and then for our Y label, we're going to see our Y testing label. And also, let's actually see this, and then we're going to do for our title. Let's just see our S and Y first. So we can see here, we can see Y testing label, and here X testing there, because one know that this down base is more like that of the X, and then the colon is more like that of the Y. So watch many is for actually give our title, because we don't know what this actual graph is actually there for up to now. I still don't know what this graph is all about. So just know it's tutorial graph. Let's just name it like something like that. So we're going to say our, let's just paste this, so we're going to be able to be similar. So here's going to be is going to be title, yeah. Here's going to be PLT title. Here is going to be tutorial. I'll say tutorial graph. I think that actually settles it. So the title is going to be tutorial graph, and then the S label is going to be X testing label, and that of the Y label is going to be Y testing label. Let's actually run this. So we can see like how we expected tutorial graph, and now it became that of the title, and then the Y axis will have that of the Y testing, and for this of the X we have the X testing label. You can see this is one of the simplest way to actually add your Y axis to give it a name, and the S axis to give it a name. But most of the time, we know that one of the important one is this of the title. So the title, yeah, I think when you are dealing with multiple graph, I think it's a good idea if you have the title, because the title is going to make things a little bit, it can actually use it to differentiate your graphs, because if you have multiple graphs, that the title, you can get everything really, really messed up. So title, one of the time, is the most, to me, what did I write to tell you? What is this? So it's actually to be tutorial, so not tutorial. So this is actually one of the best ways. So this Y and the X as this, giving it a name, is actually useful, but most of the time I don't even see the need. So there's another thing we can actually add, which is actually that of the grid. We can actually set our grid on the line, so we can set our PLT dot what grid, which is going to be grid. Let's just set it. So what the grid has basically do is just to make a kind of bars on the line, maybe kind of can say a horizontal bars on this. You can say not horizontal, both the row and the column. So this is the, I can say this is the Y bar, this is the X bar. There are how many X bar here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's 5, and this should be 1, 2. This is just more like grid. So you can actually set the grid that you actually want to actually appear, because this is actually more like, this is Y grid, this is S grid. So with this ideology, we can come here and set the axis, which one do you want to actually appear. So I want the Y to actually appear. Let me run this. So meaning that only the vertical bar is actually going to appear. The horizontal bar is going to be neglected, because that's one we actually set it. Yeah, sorry. This is one that I'm supposed to actually, the axis the actual want is that of the Y axis, because that's what we set it. Here to here, here to here, here to here. This is the X from up, down to up, down to up, down to up to down. So this is the Y. So if we set that of the X, we know we'll be getting this kind of line back. So that is just basically, we can actually set that of the color, the can actually say the green, sorry, the grid, we can actually give it a color, we can actually give it a line style, actually give it a line width, so any one of our choice. So let's actually do a sample of that. Since let's just remove this, so let's just give it a color. Let me just give it a color, you can say blue, and then let's give it something like maybe let's just call it color green, and let me just give it blue. Then after the color, I also want to give it a line style. I hope I spelled that correct. Line style, so we can actually give it a dotted. So after the line style, we can actually decide to give it a line width. So line width. Remember, we have actually done all this, so I don't see the need. So we can actually give it 2. So that actually make it a little bit bigger. So the color is set to blue, the line style is going to be set to that of the dot, and the line width is set to 2. So let's actually run this and see example of how this actually works. So we can see that since we set the line to be blue, so and we didn't specify the axis that we actually wanted, so automatically default is set to that of the both, can say both the X and Y axis. So we can see that as well, get the X and that of the Y axis. So when we actually look at it, you can see that we set the color because that's what we actually set here to blue. So the grid is going to be blue, and the line style was this kind of dash dash, so not actually dot like I said. This is actually supposed to be dash dash. So we actually kind of dash dash, and then we set the line width to be 2. Remember that this is actually grid, so making the line width to be more, like extending the line width, you don't know what width is actually. So extending the width can really mess up things. So most of the time it doesn't actually exceed 1. So most of the time it's going to be 0.5, 0.71. 2 is actually okay. But when you have thousands of lines and maybe the same similar color, you can see make things a little bit complex. So I think this actually covers that of the adding the title, the labels, and that of the working with that of the grid. The next thing we're going to actually look at some of the other complex things that actually come with this of the Matplotlib. So if you find this video anywhere useful, subscribe. It's not going to collect money for your pocket. So I'll be happy to see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.